Hi there, I'm going to show you how to replace the battery on this Mini Cooper key fob. This one is a little difficult because the case is sealed. You have to crack it open and then you have to solder your battery. So here's what I'm going to be using. I've got a flat blade screwdriver I'm going to be using. I'm also using a little flux. I'm using my soldering iron, and this is the battery. It takes a VL2020 or an ML2020. Either of those will do. There's links below in the description to everything I'm using here, and let's get started. Okay, so take your flat tip screwdriver, and again, the thinner this is, the better. And I like to work it in here initially in the back, and then just kind of, you can just see it gently. You can gently pry it apart, and be very careful because the board is literally right there, and you don't want to damage it. All right, now I'm going to do the other side, same thing. All right, so now we've got the two halves split. Let's go ahead and we're going to have to unsolder this existing battery. So basically there's solder points here and here. I'm going to put a little flux on each one of these sides so the solder doesn't run. You can see the board's pretty busy there, so I want to make sure that this solder doesn't run into any of the other stuff. Okay, so I just got a little dab of flux on those solder joints, and I've got the soldering gun heating up. I'm just going to remove these solder joints here. Got the gun heating up. All right, there we go. So, release the solder and took the old battery out. Okay, so there's the old battery. That's the VL2020, and just want to put it in the same orientation. All right, I'm just going to put a little bit of solder on this guy right here. All right, that looks pretty good. Okay, now that we have that soldered in place, let's go ahead and use our RF tester, and you can see we're back in business. Okay, so I'm going to give that a few minutes to cool down. In the meantime, we got to put this back together. Okay, so while that's cooling down, which won't take a minute, I'm going to take a razor and clean this edge up a little bit. So I'm just going to take a little razor blade and clean up some of these rough edges. Alright, so once you put this back together, just make sure that the battery's nice and flush up against the PCB board. And that's just going to sit in that tray like that. Put this back on top. You want to get it together where you push the buttons and it feels just like it should. And then what I'm going to do is take some super glue, run this around the edge here and put it back together. Or you could just put a rubber band on it. I'd also recommend maybe getting a case to go over that to keep everything together. It's going to be the most sightly, but I don't really want to risk damaging the internals. Right. So I'm going to give that some time to set up. Make sure all my buttons are good. Okay, fob's back up and running. Hope that was helpful. If it was, make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Take care.